So, I want you to tell me if you can spot what's wrong with the gameplay you're seeing here. Go on, have a good look. I'll give you a few seconds. Have you got the answer yet? That's right, I'm in Absorb right now. Doesn't look like it, does it? I promise I haven't edited this. This is raw in-game footage. So, what's going on here? Well, first of all, let's address the invisible Absorb bubble. I haven't done this with black energy. This is actually nothing new. You can either cast Absorb while you yourself are invisible, or you can cast it while aiming with a scoped weapon. That's been a thing for a while now. But more to the point, I have complete freedom of movement. Sprinting, crouching, bullet jumping, double jumping, all things you can't usually do while using Assimilate, and yet here I am doing all of them, so what's going on here? Well, the answer lies with Dispensary, Protea's subsumable ability. Technically, this interaction is also nothing new. This actually worked before the Nyx rework, but after the rework, certain things have changed, meaning this interaction is now much more potent. Before I go any further, I should point out this tech is almost certainly unintentional and is likely to get fixed now that Nyx is getting more attention, but hey, might as well enjoy it while it lasts. So, for reasons I won't get into now, Dispensary restores your ability to sprint, as well as crouch while using Assimilate. Combine this with the fact that Nyx can now jump while using Assimilate, and suddenly you're able to bullet jump. Don't worry about the double jumping for now, we'll get to that later. Okay, so now that we know what's going on, what does the build look like? It's pretty much just a load of sprint speed, as much as you can get really. The more the better, or faster I should say. Being able to sprint in Assimilate is great, but we'll still be moving at 70% speed, so we need to offset that. Aside from that, I've got 30% strength, so that Psychic Bolts can still do their job, and a whole lot of efficiency to keep the energy drain of Absorb nice and low. Not that it matters too much, because you can just get energy from Dispensary anyway. You can even take Equilibrium, like I have, to get energy from the health orbs that it generates as well. Dispensary health orbs restore 100 health, which means you'll get 110 energy. For Arcanes, we have Arcane Agility for a good bit of parkour speed, which you'll pretty much have up permanently because it'll activate even while you're in Absorb. And we have Molt Efficiency for some free duration because we're always going to have our shields up. That's not all though, there are a few components to this build outside of the frame build itself. The first requires you to take a rifle, doesn't matter which one, I've gone for the Recon effects here, and you just want to be running Amalgam Serration on it for a bit of extra sprint speed, and you're good to go. The last thing you'll want is the Ruvox. This is where the double jump comes into it, as it has an Incarnate evolution that gives you an extra jump. Seeing as we lose a jump while using Assimilate, we're using this to get it back. But as long as we're taking the Ruvox, we might as well make them useful for more than just that. That's why I've taken the Gathering Momentum perk in the second slot to give us even more speed. Now, this does require some combo to work, which is why I've taken Melee Crescendo, so we won't lose combo as long as we can perform finishes. Oh, we're also going to be heavy attacking quite a lot naturally with these things, so I've taken Dispatch Overdrive to give us more speed when we do so. But regarding finishers, there's a few ways of opening enemies to finishers, like using Naramon for example, but here I've chosen to take the Bronco with Dizzying Rounds. It takes 37 finishers to get to max combo and stay there, which you can easily do over the first few minutes of the mission. This build is more suited to endless missions anyway, so I don't think that's a big ask. Being at max combo means we'll always have the full speed boost from the Ruvox, and it also has the added benefit of allowing us to activate Incarnate form as soon as it expires. Now, I will say you probably don't need quite this much speed in your build. If we were talking pre-rework here, I would have said that you need as much as you can get, as the movement speed penalty used to be 50%, but now that it's 70%, you can afford to be a bit more flexible and probably drop some mods like Speed Drift or Mars Anguish. I've just done it here because faster equals funnier, you know? So yeah, this build is more or less equivalent to opening the dev console and typing toggle god mode. I will admit the build is fun, especially after getting used to Assimilate turning you into a snail for all these years, but as I said earlier, it is a bug and it's likely to get fixed. I wanted to make this video as a way of immortalizing it. In a way, I'm kind of hoping it gets fixed. This build does mean you are functionally invincible with basically no drawbacks. You essentially just stop interacting with a lot of the game's systems, and there's pretty much no threat to you. Before her rework, one of the biggest enemies of the Assimilate build was Ancient Disruptors, and they also received changes this update, which means they can no longer do anything to you. Combine this with the fact that Dispensary, on top of the unintended side effects I've shown off, also has the nice benefit of giving you infinite energy. Not that it matters, I'm pretty sure Assimilate's energy drain is lower than intended right now for some reason. Like, look at it, it's less than 1 energy per second. You could probably ignore the drops from Dispensary altogether and still never run out of energy. The only real threat you have now is Violence, as he can silence you, but even then, all you have to do is wait a few seconds, and you're right back to giving him the middle finger from the comfort of your immortality bubble. So that's pretty much everything there is to talk about with this build. There is one last thing, however. I actually discovered this while preparing for this video. Apparently, if you have the Rework equipped with its extra jump evolution, every time you exit Absorb, you gain an additional jump. Like, indefinitely. So, armed with this newfound knowledge, I decided to do what any sane person would do, and see if I could jump from one side of the Valis to the other. So, yeah, enjoy this clip of me turning Eleanor into Flappy Bird. Oh, and just as a little bonus here, while we're on the topic of weird absorb interactions, if you ever wanted to turn Nyx into an attack helicopter, now you can. This isn't even with Assimilate either, this is just regular absorb. No helmet ability required either, just a standard default build. Don't ask me why this works, I have no idea. Let's just chalk it up to good old spaghetti and leave it at that. Do with this information what you will. Thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed. Leave a like, leave a comment, you know the drill. Drop me a follow on Twitch, I'll be back to streaming Warframe in the new year, and it'll be great to have some new faces in the stream. I've taken the holiday period to make a lot of improvements, so you'll have that to look forward to. Anyway, catch you later.